What's happening, everybody? This is V3Cast, episode 29, where the band Voyager 3, that's us, talks about film and music and pop culture and even cool beverages. What's up, fellas?
Hey,
what's going on?
Whoop, whoop. See,
this is exciting.
We got the sound, and then I just did the sound myself. You know, the DJ horn. I just did it live.
It's been a while since we did this. We gotta get back into this thing, man.
A very popular sample. But you know what, though? If you use it right, it's hype. Am I right?
It's only good if you use it ironically and like to make fun of it.
I guess so.
No, it needs to be in every rap song, I think.
The people who put it in rap songs because they think it's cool and it's like really outdated now, no, that sucks.
Well, it might have been cool at first, but you're right. Then everybody started using it, and now it's cliche, if you will, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. But if you're spitting hot fire and you're really, really good and you're laying it down, maybe you could get away with another DJ horn.
Drop it right here.
People would feel it. With all this talking, it's got my throat scratchy. What are y'all drinking?
Am I going first this week?
I think so.
All right, I got a good one. Check this out.
Ooh.
You know this local band? Greta Van Fleet? You ever heard of them? They're from Frankenmuth.
Founders.
Aaron and I, we go to Frankenmuth.
They're a little local band. They're starting to get, a little bit of traction out there on the scene.
Dig it, man.
Greta Van Fleet, Four Giants. IPA by Founders. And it's a limited edition, hazy. But you know what I like about it? A lot of times with these hazy beers, they get a little flat, because they overdo the citrus. It's like the Beastie Boys and what's that song? Help me out.
Paul Revere, the air is getting
Paul Revere. Yeah, the air's getting flat. So this one has got a nice, crisp carbonation to it. So as far as hazies go, this is a pretty good one.
I got this CUTWATER vodka mule. It's good stuff.
Dang,
it's if you like that ginger beer.
Oh yeah.
And this has that involved. So
it has to. Yeah, that is one of the main ingredients in a Moscow mule.
Damn, that was a good one.
All right.
Yeah, Steve doesn't drink the alcohol, but he knows what's in a drink, and I credit that to his wife.
That's absolutely right, man, because she can make some drinks, man, for sure. Plus, I don't know all the ingredients, but that one, because it's ginger beer, I know that one for sure.
You like spicy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of spicy shit, what do you have, Steve?
Man, all the kids are talking about this drink, man. I'm telling you. So I had to just try it.
I know what it is.
I had to try it. Everybody's talking about it, so I got myself a Prime.
Oh, no.
So I hope it's good.
Did Vivi talk you into that?
They both did. Because they want this. They want this.
It's
but
kids, man.
I'm not getting them energy drinks. They're too young for that. So what I do once in a while as a treat is I get them like the Prime. That's like the sports drink. So it's basically like Gatorade. So,
right.
Once every couple weeks or something like that, I'll let them split Prime sports drink. But this is Prime energy drink. So we'll see. This is orange mango. So I always like orange mango almost no matter what it is. So I'm assuming this will be pretty good. Let's see if I can get a good crack on this one.
Excellent.
I hope y'all heard that because it was loud over here.
Oh, it was great.
I heard a little bit of it. Just a little.
Yeah, it tastes pretty good, man. The mango is strong in it, even overpowering the orange. It's a nice mango. I dig it.
Did you give it a little inversion, man? A little Red Bull shake?
Oh, you got to give it a Red Bull shake. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I did that for sure. Now, don't let my brother tell you that you're shaking it too much. Remember?
Right. that was the moment I learned what a Red Bull shake was because I didn't do one.
Well, hey, listen, we have so much stuff that's popping up right now. I figured that I would put the news before our main topic, believe it or not, because the news in our camp is a lot. So I want to share this, man, because there's so much stuff going on. Just today, it was announced that Movie Theater Massacre, written and directed by our buddy Ian Courtney, is playing at Hell's Half Mile Film and Music Festival in Bay City on September 21st through the 24th. And
Nice.
you got to check their website for the exact day, time, and theater. But how cool is that, man? So it's Ian's
Super
first
cool.
film. He got accepted to a film festival, a really cool film festival. They got an award, as a matter of fact, for like one of the coolest film festivals in the country. That came out in like July or something like that through a magazine. So yeah, we've scored the finale scene in that film. It's really cool. It was filmed at the Redford Theater, historic Detroit area theater that's still up and running with a real functioning organ in the theater still. They play it before the films and in intermissions and stuff like that. Killer theater. And Leanna Quigley is starring in this film too. She's got a part, like she's in a scene. Super cool. So check out Movie Theater Massacre if you're anywhere near Hell's Half Mile Film Festival. And I'm sure it's going to be playing more places soon. And we'll let you know when it is. But we just found that out today. So super, super excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome for Ian, because I know it took him a long time to get that done.
Yeah.
And, it sort of crosses over into that Friends Doing Cool Stuff segment that we have every once in a while. So we can call it that as well.
Sure does. Absolutely right. And another awesome thing in our orbit, New York Ninja Super Special number 2. I'll read you the little sizzle paragraph that they wrote. Vinegar Syndrome's cult hit returns. It's 1986. Streets are flooded by a radioactive drug called DK. Ninja and the Kid are on the case. Do they have what it takes? Plus, there's a new vigilante in NYC, and she ain't no cream puff. Got me sold, right, guys?
Right.
And then it goes on to say, John continues to train the kid, but as hordes of drug-addled street punks cause chaos in the streets, John must don his white shinobi Shozuko once again to become the New York Ninja.
Nice.
Man, it's going to be great. I hope they have like a handful of covers too, like the first one. I think they had, I think it was 2 variant covers, if I'm not mistaken. That's also by Charles Forsman, who did the first one. So totally looking forward to that.
And I love that he's taking it and running with it, and expanding the universe, so to speak. So
yeah, for sure.
It's only a matter of time before it's the Marvel universe.
That's right. Yeah, it's gonna reach great heights.
We'll have a small little part in that.
That's right.
That's right, man. Absolutely. Yeah, I remember he said too, in a tweet a while back, he goes, while he was writing the first one, he had that soundtrack spinning all the time to kind of like get him into the spirit of everything. Okay. And I'm like, man, that's what it's all about for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We've done the same thing where we're reading stuff and that might inspire a mood or an arrangement or a riff or something like that. Or we see a film and that attitude or mojo comes across and it translates through our filter into something. So I love to hear that.
Absolutely.
And then speaking of New York Ninja, on Tuesday, September 5th, 9 p.m., New York Ninja, the film, will be playing on Showtime's Show Bet, which is Showtime and BET's kind of channel. So mark your calendars for that one.
Yeah, they got to keep playing it, man. Just keep playing it, Showtime.
I know it just keeps soaking out into the culture, and it'll become just another one of those films that people remember and talk about, and just kind of it'll stick with it. I think it has all the parts, all the recipe for that to be another one of those type of films.
Definitely, it's got good rewatch value.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the kind of movie that you want to show people who haven't seen it.
Right.
Totally. Especially like in a social setting. It'd be great to it sort of makes me think about tomorrow night. We got plans to hang out with a friend from out of town. It just makes me kind of want to bring it just in case.
Yeah, just so it's an option.
But that's the kind of setting where you want to unleash it on people that are unaware of it, and then once you explain it to them and you show it, it's like one of those party movies, and I think it will continue to be that. I think.
Right, yeah. I agree for sure. Last bit, and probably one of the coolest so far. We're doing another film soundtrack. We're actually in the middle of working on it right now, and that is to a film called Killer Cabbage. It was written and directed by Michael A. Dotson and Jude Reed, and it's actually a Michigan production, believe it or not. They filmed a lot of this in Sault Ste. Marie area. I think either both of them or one of them are from around that area. And it's definitely a kind of schlocky, over-the-top sci-fi meets comedy, and really soaked in the spirit of like the classic Troma films, really. It kind of has that very campiness to it. It's a perfect B-movie vibe. So it's Voyager 3's job to provide the score for that film, and that's what we're currently working on.
Yeah, we got a good start on this one, man. Like the ideas just came right out.
Yeah,
I think we had one rehearsal and had some good stuff.
Yeah, walked away with like a big palette of riffs and motifs to plug in and twist around and speed up and slow down and change the key if needed. All that stuff. That's right.
We can't wait for people to hear it once it's all done and see it and all that. So it'll be great.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention is, of course, the Voyager 3 store is a place where we have all of our merch. We have digital downloads, CDs, T-shirts, coffee mugs, whatever, stickers, posters, even New York Ninja slip mats for your turntable. So we're going to do a cool sale for September. So you ready? So first, the sale is going to be 25% off if you have the code New York Ninja. You got to type that code in. That'll give you 25% off. Then on top of that, all orders over $50 get free shipping in the United States. And then lastly, let's pick a number here. The first 35 orders that come in, if they're a shirt, we will match that shirt with the same size shirt, but a wild card pick. So you get
a wild card design from like all of our other designs. Is that what you're saying, Steve?
Yeah, exactly. Like say somebody gets a New York Ninja T-shirt.
What if we didn't send the same size? And you just
like I can't even.
Yeah, you just send them a shirt they can't even use.
Yeah, so we'll match your shirt order with just another design from our collection. So this will be fun. It's like extra value for all y'all who enjoy Voyager 3 and want to sport some merch. It's a really great incentive to get some cool stuff for yourself or friends and family. That's at Voyager3store.com, VOYAG3R store.com. And this is going to last all of September.
And by the way, we don't cut corners on artwork.
No, we don't.
No, we get the good guys to do the good guys and girls to do our shirts and our merch.
That's right.
We have the best artwork in town. I don't know about the music, but the artwork is top notch.
Don't make me spit my drink out.
I support that statement. We work with the best artists.
Our shirts have that good ass artwork, and when you order your large, you're going to get an extra small.
Yeah, belly shirt.
That's
like a half shirt. Steve's going to pick that out for you personally.
That's right. Our main topic of this episode of V3Cast is the amazing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. See what I did there?
I did.
Right. You did it amazing, he said.
Yeah, because that's not really in the title, but it was amazing, but it goes with that because they use that sometimes. These two films, man, I loved them. I absolutely loved them. Do you want to hear how I saw them?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in these things. And if you said, well, why? I have no good reason. Sometimes you're just not ready for something. It's just like I heard about that this film was out back in 2018. Totally skipped it. I didn't have any desire to see it. My kids were a little too young to watch that. They wouldn't be interested in it. So I didn't see it. Then COVID happened, and their sequel was supposed to come out, I think, in 21 is what I researched when preparing this episode. But of course, as you well know, with COVID, there were no theaters open. Many films got delayed or possibly went right to streaming. They obviously didn't choose that for Across the Spider-Verse. So in 2023, Across the Spider-Verse came out. My kids are older. They are ready for this now. So they asked me one Saturday, hey, can we go see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse? And I'm like, well, I didn't see the first one, but I don't really care. So sure, let's go. So I saw this part 2 first, and I just wanted to let my kids see this because they were really into it. Because I think
Steve just wanted popcorn.
Yeah, that's true too. And those nice plushy seats where I can lean back, and if it's not good, fall asleep as
he was
Greg
thinking
illustrated.
he was gonna get a dad nap and some popcorn. It was gonna be a good Saturday afternoon.
That's right, man.
He got pleasantly surprised.
You got that right. I'm telling you what, from the minute it started, first the animation style made me pay attention right away because I have never seen anything that looks like this film. But in the first chunk of part 2, because remember, part 2 is what I saw first. If you recall that first little sequence before the main credits come in, they have this kind of scene where it's even more rough animation. It's like extra abstract and just, it almost makes you think it's a flashback, but it's really not. And then all those other Spider-Man came in toward the end when they're fighting that Falcon guy, right? Because it's getting a little bit out of hand. It wasn't a Falcon, was it? I think it was.
The Vulture.
Yeah, Vulture. Thank you. The Vulture. So up until that whole thing ended, not to mention Daniel Pemberton's music is so killer in both of these films. Unreal. Amazing. Awesome.
See what I did there?
The music went so well with that whole first sequence with she's in the band, she gets mad, she quits the band, all this stuff, and her dad's trying to track down the killer of the Peter Parker, right? All this kind of stuff. Amazing. So it grabbed me immediately because it was just so, to me, abstract and different of anything that I've seen before. It just nailed it, man. And then the rest of the film took over, and that was more visually like the first one.
Yeah, since we're talking about the music, I was gonna bring this up when we got to the first one, but like you're right, the Pemberton score is amazing. It's perfect. But what I really liked about the first one is how they incorporated some of the old school hip hop stuff that you're talking about. It really felt like a New York movie. Like the songs that they chose, especially like that Biggie Smalls song, and then there were a few others. It was just like so well. The songs that they picked were like perfect, and I agree. The animation is top notch. It set a new standard, and you can already see new movies copying it. We went and saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and to me, that's them saying, okay, that's how we can do that. We can do that style too. Yeah. So it's sort of it's already inspiring other films, So
nothing else has looked like that. I mean, not that I know of.
Another element that I really, really dig it is all the different versions. I mean, obviously that's the main hook of the whole film, but part 2 to me, because then to finish my story, is I was blown away by this film. So then a couple days after seeing that, we streamed Into the Spider-Verse, and I love that too. Maybe I like part 2 a little more because it's the one I saw first. Sometimes it works like that. Or maybe it's just more refined. I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't seen them enough to make that judgment, and that judgment is not even necessary anyway. But I went back and watched part 1, also awesome. But that part 2 just punched me in the theater because I just didn't even have any expectation whatsoever. And
so I have a totally different take. I think the first movie is far superior to the second one. Now, I like them both. Don't get me wrong, and I think the second one takes the whole multiverse thing and just swings for the bleachers with it. Yeah.
Definitely,
which is great because it's like a lot of good comedy.
I love that punk rock Spider-Man. He's great.
Exactly. Every single Spider-Man in it is great. Like I love the idea that there's that many and like a whole universe of just Spider-Man, or women or whatever. It could be literally anything. Obviously, the second one takes that and runs with it, but I think the first, I don't know, man. There's something about the first one, like I relate to it more. The whole family thing is a bit more, with the uncle and his brother and the kid sort of idolizing his uncle. Like I relate to that.
You know, really awesome thing, seeing it the order that I did in particular, is the Peter Parker that he sees when he's like
Out of shape.
at the grave in the first one, you know, and then the other Peter Parker comes up behind him. That one.
And he's wearing like sweatpants.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how cool is that now? Now I know why he's such a good dad in the second one. You know, because you see what happened, and for me it was reversed. You know, but that's awesome. It's really wonderful writing. It's basically the same writing team, but this is kind of weird to me. Like, none of the directors, by the way, each of them have 3 directors, but none of them are the same from each of the films. Doesn't that seem weird? Wow. That's not really that common.
Yeah, it does seem weird.
Yeah. I was surprised. I had to look twice at all 6 names. But is there any repeats? Are you sure? No. Whoa. Yeah, because it really is cohesive, and, you know, neither one dropped the ball or whatever, you know, anything like that. So that's almost seems risky to change that chemistry like that, but they did, and I think it was absolutely fine. You know,
so you know where Steve and I stand on it, Aaron. And I know you have a slightly different opinion, so I'm curious to hear your take on it.
It's strange for me because I think they're cool, but I don't love them like everybody else seems to. Like, they don't hit me like that. I think they're fun, they're cool. I like, you know, the characters. I definitely like in part 1 I like the you know, the sort of dark detective guy, Nicolas Cage, and of course I like Spider-Ham, John Wayne.
Yeah.
Like the punk rock guy, who's his name Hobie, I think. I don't know. And I definitely like Poe Dameron and you know,
Oscar Isaacs.
Oscar Isaac doing Spider-Man 2099. That was cool because I remember when Spider-Man first did 2099, I think that was 1999, and it was like, if I remember right, that's when it came out. And that was the first real expansion of Spider-Man in the comics. And it was kind of a crazy idea of like, well, what if there would be another Spider-Man in the future that's got nothing to do with Peter Parker? And so to see that guy come alive in the movie was cool, especially since there's a million Spider people in the movie. So of course he should be in there too. But the movies don't hit me at that level. I wish they did. Like, I see everybody talking about them and I feel like, man, what am I missing?
I thought for sure you would love the hell out of it, because one of the other key things that happens in both 1 and 2 very often are the way that they'll animate a little sequence and freeze on it or zoom in on it. And it's like, that's a comic book page, like 100%. I thought you'd be like doing a backflip in the theater.
I should have been, but people going crazy for them, and I'm glad they like them. Like, for me, I'm glad, like, even if I'm not digging it in the same way, I'm actually legitimately glad that other people are digging it. You know what I mean? So instead of being like hating on it or whatever, I'm like, well, I'm missing something, but I'm glad it's there for them. For me, they're kind of, I get a feeling of like everything, including the kitchen sink in these movies, they're just throwing everything at the screen. Literally, they're throwing everybody.
Well, especially in the second one.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, normally I would think that, but because of what the mechanism is of the story, I feel like it has to be that.
Yeah, it probably does. It probably does. But then I just, like, there's something in my head, like, you know, like one Spider-Man solving problems is pretty good too, you know, but that's so far back now. Even the live action Spider-Man has, you know, brought in multiverse, and obviously and that could be part of it could be some fatigue with all the live action stuff, all this post Avengers Endgame stuff. It's all about the multiverse. Like, and so they're doing all that stuff in these movies, and they're kind of slowly building their story very slowly between all these other movies, right? The live action ones. And then Spider-Man's doing it. And then also over in DC, you got the Flash doing it and all that stuff. And I think maybe I'm just a little burned out on multiverse stuff. I don't know.
Aaron might have a point too. Like, he brings up something that I was thinking of, like, because I know I can speak for myself. and say that I don't know comic books the way Aaron does. And I think Steve would probably say the same thing. Like we were definitely not as invested in comic books as Aaron was. So it's interesting that the comic book guy out of the three of us, is fatigued by the multiverse thing. And I wonder if that's because that was done in the comic books. And, Aaron can correct me. I think that multiverse concept has already been introduced in comic books like a long time ago, probably.
For sure.
So maybe this is new to Steve and I, but to people like you and that are involved with comics that closely, this just seems like a tired trope or something.
Right.
Like
so
a cash grab or something. You know what I mean?
Aaron's like, you guys are a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys. I read about that shit in the 90s.
No. I really, it's not that. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I know that you have a point. That's part of it, but not as hardcore as what you're saying. Like I'm not. It's not like, oh, I've seen that all before. I'm just. It's almost like when sometimes you get everything you want, and you're kind of, and then it kind of loses some. I don't know. It's not just Spider-Man. It's not just the Spider-Verse. I'm trying to fight it in my own head, but like this post Avengers Endgame, I feel like they blew it out of the water so perfectly and broke superhero movies in a way, because not just Endgame but Infinity War. Those two movies together were like pretty much everything I could have ever dreamed of or hoped for in a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Aside from the Dark Knight trilogy, and to see that stuff come to life with all these characters, and then after that, it's like, well, where do we go from here? And nothing is going to be as good as that. It's like they desensitized me to the superhero movie, and now I'm trying to find that high, and nothing's going to touch the high of Infinity War Endgame. At least not not right now.
Right. But I can relate to that.
Moments, the newest Spider-Man live action movie was great. Guardians was great. Part 3. There have been more. There have been moments. I thought Moon Knight. Speaking of Oscar Isaac, I thought that was great. I thought Falcon and Winter Soldier was great. So there's good stuff, but overall, I'm just feeling like, man, like I never thought I'd have superhero fatigue, but I'm battling it right now. I'm not giving in.
I definitely have that. Like
same,
and that's because I'm more casual about it. Like I can't. I'm like one of those guys that's like, oh man, it's another Marvel movie. I'm already like 5 behind. Like there's no way I'm going to see this one.
Yeah.
So for me, Spider-Man was always one of my favorite characters, and it was probably because my kids that I saw the first one. So I don't know. I am sort of a Johnny-come-lately when it comes to like superhero movies. So maybe, that with the different style of artwork, it wasn't a bunch of like dirty versions of the comic book costumes. Like it was something different. Because Aaron knows I don't like how they take Superman and just make his costume dirty.
Right.
I think now he's grittier because his costume's got a little dirt on it. It's not as bright. So I don't know, man. I think you're right. I'm burnt. I am burnt out on superhero movies, and this one just felt different to me.
Exactly. Same with me.
It looked
that's
different.
Why
it was a different kind of story, and it was a different kind of Peter Parker. It was, it was everything. It was just like a totally fresh take on Spider-Man. So I was there for it.
Mailbag.
All right, for the mailbag, we have short and sweet. But the thing about Voyager,
mailbag,
the thing about us, the thing about V3Cast, it's a place for learning. It's a place for discovery.
Broadening your horizons.
Broadening your horizons. There are times where you have to admit that maybe you have a little bit more to learn in this world. And so B.L. Fisher schooled me on unsweetened tea in the last one. He said, listen,
yes.
He said, unsweetened tea is the only way to drink tea.
Oh.
So
I agree
according
wholeheartedly.
to B.L. Fisher, unsweetened tea is the way to go, and I'm just gonna accept that. I'll accept it because I'm not always
unsweetened coffee too.
Well, let me then speaking of broadening our horizons, can you list BL Fisher, please give us one or two recommended unsweetened teas to drink, whether that's in a bottle that you get from 7-Eleven or the bags that you boil and do traditional tea. Let me know, because I want to try what you think is awesome.
Listen, Steve, I got to say this. This has to be.
Go ahead.
I'm not always right. I can admit that.
Oh, Aaron, we know that.
Everybody should be when they're wrong.
Yeah, and, that's no surprise.
even if I never drink unsweetened tea in my life, I can at least, let BL Fisher tell me what's what. So also, he mentioned Carnival getting totally screwed over by HBO, because that's what HBO used to love to do back in the day. They'd build up a cool story and always some expensive period piece show.
Right.
And they, we don't have the budget for this anymore. Deadwood, Carnival, Rome, they would screw over their shows all the time, and they were critically acclaimed and fan loved shows.
Man, why they do that?
That's some guy with a chart, Steve.
I know, the bean counters, right?
Rob Van Tol also said, our buddy Rob said, Old Nation Brewing Boreal Dry Hopped Lager. He said that's
so good.
Oh, you've had it?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I think I left a comment that said I've tried most of the Old Nation stuff. Most of their stuff is good, man.
I'm going to have to
They're definitely one of the better breweries in Michigan. M43 put them on the map, but they've got a lot of different styles.
Yeah, I've had M43. That's good. Yeah, so I'll try the other one too, the Boreal Dry Hop Lager.
Yeah, they're a little bit. I mean, I think that one's limited, and they do a lot of limited stuff. So my recommendation is pretty much any store that carries M43 will probably carry all of their seasonal stuff too. So if you see something that with a label that looks like M43, because their cans are pretty distinctive. If you see one and it has a different label, it's probably a good idea to pick it up, because maybe you'll get your hands on something that's a limited batch or something. Yeah. And most of their stuff is stellar. So,
show. Well, I have one from our previous episode where we interviewed Peter Mengaday, and he was talking about Club Heidelberg. I think Helmet early on played a show there. This is before Meantime even came out. So he was talking about that. So Harvey Radius on the YouTube did a comment just recently that said, "Are you talking about the Heidelberg in Ann Arbor?" And yes, we are. That's a classic venue that's been in Ann Arbor for a long time. And man, probably everybody has played there. And I just looked just to verify on Google, and they're still open to this day as of the taping of this podcast, and they just remodeled recently, and they have a brand new sound system too. So if you haven't been to Club Heidelberg in a while, it might be time to go back. I don't know who's coming there or what kind of shows they're doing right now, but it's great to know that they're still there. So that's cool. So, hey
guys, real quick, this is something we haven't talked about, but I wanted to throw this in here because I was just talking about being schooled and having my mind changed. And so a few weeks ago, we talked about, we were going to talk about the Exorcist trailer. And I said to you guys, I said, another exorcism movie? Do we need it? Why do we need it? We don't need it. We don't need another remake. We don't need another exorcism movie. It's been ground into the dirt. Fucking exorcism movies. No, I don't even want to talk about it. Let's avoid it. And then a couple days ago, I happened to be flipping through YouTube, and it started the trailer and talks about these two girls who go missing, and then they're missing for a few days, and then they show up and they're acting weird, and they're acting weirder and weirder. Everything's getting all screwed up. And then they think they're possessed. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No. And turns out it's the Exorcist trailer, and it was creepy as hell. It looked awesome. And I eat my words 100%. I put mustard on the words and eat the shit down, because that was a badass trailer. and I stand corrected. Hopefully the movie will be good. But everything I was making fun of, I take back. The trailer is awesome.
Oh, right on. Well, then I'm going to put the trailer in the show notes, then a link to the YouTube link for it, so everybody can check it out. After you said that, I'm like, well, shit, I'm not even going to watch it either. So I didn't even watch it. So.
Yeah. So Aaron killed the entire vibe in the room. Like none of us want to see it now.
Right. But yeah, I'm going to go back to my original idea.
Twisting the vibe. Check out the trailer, and if, unless I'm crazy, it's a badass trailer. Okay, for this episode edition of Collecting Cool Stuff, Steve, you're up.
All right, man.
Very cool.
The first thing I'll tell you is a continuation from the last episode where we interviewed Kevin Kepi and Eugene Clark from Motor City Nightmares. And if you recall, I told you that guy came to our table, and we were talking about all kinds of kung fu films, and he told me about the place to get the Invincible Armor t-shirt. Well, I got the Invincible Armor t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's wearing it.
Nice.
That's from that 36 Styles web store, and the shirt is fantastic, man. So I recommend it. If you like any of those kung fu movies and you want to have a shirt of them, that's the place to get it from. And you can choose like the combination of the imprint color and the garment color, and there's like 5 or 6 choices for every single shirt. Most of them are usually in stock. So super awesome. Now my actual collecting cool stuff item. I've been sitting on this for like 3 episodes because it didn't rotate to my turn. So I've been holding on to it. But everybody loves fright rags, right? So
yeah.
About, I don't know, 2 months ago or so, maybe it was May, maybe it was June, whatever, a little bit ago, they started advertising these cups. And I like drinkware, in case y'all didn't know that. I love custom mugs and custom cups. So I got 3. I think there was like maybe 7-ish total. So I got 3. So Night of the Living Dead.
Nice.
Cup. And I got Creep Show.
Sweet.
All the artwork that you're used to seeing on the, the Blu-ray and the.
I got a soft spot for Creep Show.
Oh, me too, man, for sure. And then the third cup that I got is Dawn of the Dead. Just so absolutely fantastic. Yep. I can't help myself. One of my absolute favorite filmmakers of all time. So there you have it. Now there's a bunch of other ones. So go to their site if this is up your alley, and they have all those ones, of course, and they have like about probably 5 others, and they're escaping my mind right now because it's been a while since I looked. But there's a nice variety of cups. I hope they still have them because sometimes Fright Rag sells out if you don't jump on it quick. But if you're lucky, they might have a few left. So I got myself
if you
some.
haven't heard of Fright Rags, you gotta go check their website. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, they also get the best artists, by the way.
Yeah, they don't mess around with art either.
I know, man. They got really excellent stuff. I have a few of their T-shirts and posters, and it's just top-notch stuff for sure. This next part of the podcast is fun because all of us, I think, to some degree, like to play video games, and at different times in our life, we played more or less video games. But one thing is certain, that one brand that keeps reoccurring in our journey of video games is that of Nintendo. Am I right?
That's right.
So I propose to you to list your favorite Nintendo game of all time. Could be any of the eras, which are Nintendo Entertainment System, Super NES, the Wii. I'm not going to include Wii U because I never played it, or the Switch.
Anything in that you forgot? Like, did they do GameCube?
They did too, didn't they? But I missed that one.
Okay.
That was when we were on tour all the time.
There was no time for GameCube. I love Breath of the Wild. I didn't grow up playing too much Nintendo. I did play, of course, Mario Brothers. For me, like, my family got Breath of the Wild, and everybody was playing it at different at the same time, just taking turns playing it. And I wasn't too interested in it first, and then I checked it out because we like to check things out around here.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I quickly became addicted. It took me quite a long time to play it. I think it took me about a year, because I don't rush games, and it's a huge, expansive game, open world, like truly open world. That's the first time I ever played an open world game. So to be able to just pretty much go anywhere and do anything and climb anything and jump off of anything and figure out things, okay, well, can I throw a bomb while I'm in the air? Can I throw a bomb while I'm in the water? All these things, you could pretty much do anything you could think of for the most part. So I love Breath of the Wild. It came out in 2017, and the sequel just came out a few months ago. And
Nice.
I haven't dived into that so much. I got it, but I've only played a little bit of it. But I feel like it's going to be, I might be spoiled, and I don't know if I'm going to like it as much as Breath of the Wild, because it's like such a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
So I love going around killing orcs and bokoblins and stuff, and just gathering food and making food, cooking it and all that stuff, and making different potions. It's super cool, collecting the armor and the weapons and all that stuff. I definitely love that game and highly recommend it. It doesn't feel like it's not at all dated. I mean, 17 isn't that long ago. Greg's talked about playing Red Dead Redemption for 5-6 years or something. Like it doesn't really get old, so it's kind of like that. So yeah, that's my favorite for sure.
Nice.
Still going to get you to play Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's the other thing I was going to say is when I grew up and I played a little Nintendo, but I never played any Zelda. That was the main thing I was going to say. So
Yeah.
I'm totally late to the party with Zelda games, but it didn't really matter. It stands on its own. So yeah, I love that game.
It has a really unique art style as well, I think. Like in terms of open world games, like most of them are doing like the hyper realistic, like Red Dead Redemption 2, Grand Theft Auto, like those look almost like the real world. But the Breath of the Wild definitely has like a cool, almost like an anime style or something that I think is really cool, and it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Awesome, man. I don't
played
even know that game.
too. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, how about you, man?
That wasn't my choice, though. I'm going old school, man. Just like all the movies, I go right back to my roots, Steve.
Yeah.
So we never had Nintendo. We never had the original one. I don't know. I feel like we had something else. We definitely had Atari, but like I feel like there was something else in between there.
Yeah.
But we never had the. I don't know. My brother would know. No. It would have been something easy to find, I'm guessing, but my brother would probably know better than me. So I never had Nintendo, but we did have Super Nintendo when that came out. So we did get Super Nintendo, and I remember this game that to me was like on the cutting edge. We were obsessed with it like quickly, and it was Star Fox. Do you remember Star Fox?
I never played it, but I remember seeing like the box and the artwork and stuff like that.
He is a fox, right?
Yes, he's definitely a fox.
Yeah.
But really, you don't ever see him, I don't think, so it's like a 3D, it was like the first 3D like space shooter that I'd ever seen, and it was using like some sort of like, I don't know, like new polygon technology or something, and it looked like you were flying a spaceship, and it just was so different. It did pretty well for Super Nintendo, and I remember my brother and I being pretty obsessed with it. So that's my pick. I when you're at that age and you're impressionable, and like a game comes out that's totally different than anything you've seen, especially like 3D, that wasn't a thing really.
I, on the other hand, had Nintendo Entertainment System. I got it maybe the second year that it was out, I think, if I'm remembering right. But played the heck out of it. Loved it. Super Mario Brothers was absolutely fantastic. I remember I ever first saw that game at a 7-Eleven in Florida, and it was the upright arcade game straight up. And then I found out you could get it for Nintendo, because I think I didn't get the one that came with Super Mario Brothers. I got the one that came with Gyromite, and they had the robot. So I got Super Mario Brothers quickly after that, and I played that all the time. But favorites, for Nintendo Entertainment System, hands down, Ghosts and Goblins. One of the best games ever made. Everything about it is excellent. It's hard as hell, so you really have to earn it to get up into the levels. And if the original board or the first board, if the music isn't cool enough, when you finally do level up to like the second and third and fourth levels, the music gets even cooler. It gets even more eerie. And then Super Nintendo, that was one I never had, but I have a cool tour story. Back in the Forge days, we played the Flint local, and I think the next day we were either headed to the Upper Peninsula to play at Michigan Tech, believe it or not, or it was a different time. We were heading like to Ohio the next day. So the Flint local was kind enough to let us crash at the venue after we played the show, and they had a Super Nintendo there. So I remember all night I was playing, is it called Shadows of the Empire? It was like their main Star Wars game. Yeah. I played the hell out of that. And I remember like thinking, this is the most realistic, coolest Star Wars game to date. Because, there had always been Star Wars games for every system before that. And they're always like, eh. Right. But this one had like the right sound effects, like actual samples. It was great. It was like really great.
Was that the one that was like Doom?
It was, I think, side scroll. If I'm not,
okay.
All right,
so it's not the one I'm thinking of. There was a Star Wars game that came out that was like Doom. It was like 3D like that.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that was the coolest one at the time, but it's obviously a different one.
Right on. Yeah, I probably played that one too. That one might have been Sega CD, maybe. I can't remember. Say what?
Was that Battlefront Star Wars?
No.
That's
that
much
more
more
later.
recent. But and then fast forward to the next one that I ever played in Nintendo's world was the Wii. I never got GameCube, and if there was anything else in between there, I wasn't in the video game mode at that time. So for the Wii, believe it or not, this might sound crazy or not what you think I would say, but Wii Golf is amazing. I don't even play golf in real life. I've really never played. Just a couple of silly, golf outings where you play best ball and you don't have to be good and you're just there to have fun and chit chat. Anyway, Wii Golf is great. They have the audio is wonderful. It's like you can hear like babbling brooks and the wind blowing, and it's almost like relaxing to play Wii Golf. And then once you get the hang of the mechanics of it, it's pretty fun.
Cool.
So we played that one a lot back in the mid 2000s, I think, right? Like 2006, 7, 8, right around there. And then now with the Switch, I have played a couple. But not really by myself, like that game that you mentioned, Aaron, where you're doing the quest and you have kind of time to do all that kind of stuff. We do more now where it's kind of like all the kids play, and we all kind of play together as a family. All four of us are playing. It's this the Puyo Puyo Tetris, believe it or not, is so awesome. So you got Tetris or the Puyo Puyo, which is like more color matching than shape or lines like Tetris is, but there's different modes where it'll switch between both, and you're playing Puyo Puyo for a second, and then after so much time, it switches to Tetris. And you can play it to where it doesn't do that as well, and you're just playing one or the other. But it's kind of fun to like, you keep making your brain, because it's totally different mojos between what you have to do in Puyo Puyo and what you have to do in Tetris. So it's fun to like, break your brain to switch gears like that. So that one I enjoy on the Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get Breath of the Wild, it'll bring you in. It'll suck you in. Like, there's.
You know what it sounds like to me is that you're just playing a video game of Dungeons and Dragons, which that's the best.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
All right, we're gonna end this episode of V3Cast with another round of our Tubi Picks. What y'all got? What you guys been watching? Tubi's got an endless supply of all the stuff we like, man. The horror, the giallo, the sci-fi, an endless list.
Everything. Westerns,
yep.
Kung Fu. I've been reading Corey Dana's book about Sheldon Lettich, and it hit me that a lot of the book is about Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I haven't watched any of his movies in 30 years or more.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen all of his movies. There's a bunch I haven't seen. So I started, I was like, if I'm going to be reading this book, I got to know what they're referring to. So I I've been going back and watching some Jean-Claude movies, and so far my favorite is Kickboxer. There's a lot of repeat between Bloodsport and Kickboxer. Probably a lot of repeat between all of his movies because he's always fighting in tournaments and shit. But
and doing the splits and shit.
Yeah, he does over and over. But Kickboxer is a really cool movie. I think it's better than Bloodsport. I don't know. Some people might hate me for that, but Kickboxer was really good. I love the training scenes when he's out in Thailand with this temple in the background, and I'm thinking, it's not a special effect. That's like really what the temple looks like, and that's really what the sky looks like. As far as I can tell, that was all real. And it's a cool movie. It's got its lighthearted moments and funny moments and heavy moments. The dude, everybody knows probably the guy from the poster of Kickboxer, the guy with the top knot, and he's just totally. He looks like something from a video game. Like he's like a monster, bad guy. Big intimidating fighter, and I had to get to the bottom. Is like, does that guy really look like that, or was that makeup? Because I always, for 35 years, I thought that's what the guy really looks like.
Yeah.
But I won't spoil anything. Anyway, dude, Kickboxer was very cool. Directed by Mark DeSalle in 1989. That's my Tubi pick.
All right.
My Tubi pick is Graduation Day, 1981 horror movie that I've never seen and have always wanted to see because, again, we've talked about this on the podcast before. I would always go to the video store and I'd only have so much money, so I'd always rent the one that my friends had seen so that I could be the cool kid that also knew what they were talking about. So anyways, I would always see Graduation Day and all these other movies that now are magically on Tubi. So I sat down and I watched Graduation Day. Of course, I didn't watch it in one sitting because I've got kids.
That's right.
It's got some really good people in it. It's 1981. It's very, very, very much pinching Friday the 13th, Psycho, Halloween, you name it. They're throwing it all in there. But it has Linnea Quigley in it, who we already mentioned tonight. Believe it or not, Vanna White's in this movie. And Michael Pataki, who's a character actor that you guys will certainly recognize if you look him up. And then one of the main characters is Christopher George. It's not our friend Christopher George, but this Christopher George was also in the movie Grizzly, which was on Joe Bob's special I think it was a few weeks ago. This Christopher George, not our friend Christopher George, also happens to be born in Royal Oak, Michigan. So kind of a local tie there. So Graduation Day, it's a crappy slasher, but I enjoyed it, and it's on Tubi, and you can watch it for free. So what do you care? You got to watch a couple commercials.
That's right. Just watch the commercials.
Just watch the damn commercials. It's on there for free.
That's right.
Enjoy life. Don't be so critical.
Cool pick. Well, my pick is a classic that I've loved since I was a little kid, Revenge of the Ninja. I didn't realize that those were on Tubi. And I saw it and I'm like, yep, I'm stopping right here. I haven't watched it in about 5 or 6 years. It's time to watch it. Directed by Sam Furstenberg, of course, starring one of the best ninjas, along with John Liu, Sho Kazugi.
That is the best ninja, Steve. I don't think that's debatable.
I know.
He's the best.
Yes.
He's the best ninja that ever will be.
I know, man. I know. And one of my favorite parts of this film, besides the obvious, it's one of the tightest choreographed fighting, an awesome bad guy with a silver face. You can't beat that stuff. But the music, it's absolutely incredible. I was lucky enough to score, this is probably about 6 or 7 years ago now, just at UHF Records in Royal Oak, Michigan. There happened to be a vinyl copy of Revenge of the Ninja. And I scooped that up, man. But that's music by 3 composers: Michael Lewis, Michael Lewis, Lauren Rinder, and Robert J. Walsh. Incredible soundtrack. It's on YouTube, or I don't know if it's on like streaming platforms or not, but it's definitely on YouTube. Check it out. The movie's great. So is the film score. That's my Tubi pick.
Nice.
I think those are 3 good ones. If everybody goes home and does their homework, they're going to be very pleased.
That's right. That is right.
Yeah.
Or as a plutonium killer would say, they'll be very pleased.
That's it.
Exactly.
I always like to sneak that in when I possibly can.
Right.
All right, fellas. So this has been V3Cast episode 29. If you are into Voyager 3, which is us, the band that makes albums and scores films, and we do a podcast, do us a favor, like and subscribe, and share the videos. It helps us out. Pick up some merch. In addition to Voyager 3 merch and music, we also have some V3Cast merch. We have a coffee mug and a V3Cast t-shirt, and all of that can be found at the Voyager 3 store, VOYAG3R store.com. So until next time on V3Cast, we'll see you soon.